Hey y'all, welcome back. It's Jenny Wren. If you're new here, welcome. I am here to help you to come home to yourself and to share myself with you. So I was trying to make a video and obviously I want to share about this topic, but I'm being led to more so share about where I'm at with authenticity. And I think that we need that. We need a lot more of that. I've been saying this from the beginning of my videos. It's to just be your fucking self. The world's getting boring. Everybody wants to be like each other. And I'm an adamant believer in that. I'm an adamant believer in the world can definitely heal with more authenticity. So with myself, I'm just struggling to find my true authenticity. I thought that I knew it. I'm a very bold person, bold and blunt. So I'm a very bold person and I'm very stubborn as well. So I kind of show up in the ways that I want to show up. You know, I say what I need to say when I need to say it. But I think that I am in this whole phase of I'm in a phase of I'm not in the middle of like a timeline shift, and I'm not like in the old timeline about to step into the new timeline. I'm on the new timeline and I feel like I've not been called to action. I'm like, why haven't I been called to action? It's pissing me off, you know? But I've had veils be uncovered. I've had a whole nother awakening. I've had things click for me. And now I'm like, okay, certainly now is time. Certainly now is time to be called into action. Let's do it. But no, I finally understand why I'm where I'm at. And it's because I am digging down deeper. And this might be the reason that I'm sharing this, is that maybe you're in this space as well. I'm in a space of, trickling deeper into the subconscious, obviously not purposefully. Like if it was up to me and I was really in control of all of the healing and expanding that I'm doing, then yeah, if it was on my time, I would be just going. But where I'm at is that, and where you're probably at as well, is that we are being called to separate the timelines. And that might even be what I call this. We'll see. We'll see where this goes. But I'm being called to separate the timelines. This new awakening and awareness that I have come into has now separated. Oh, thank you. Okay, baby. Sorry, 1 second. I'm getting shot by a water gun. Okay, hold on 1 second. All right, I'm back. No, that was a good little surprise for my son. It is hot today. So, yeah, that was good. But, so I got to get my mind back to what I was talking about. Yeah, so I'm separating the timelines. And this whole deep subconscious dive it's got us in a place where we are finally able to be completely separate and bring like a spotlight awareness around the old thought patterns, So I think that I've had that spotlight on it for a little while, but I think that I was fighting myself. Again, something has kind of clicked and I realized that it's time to face myself. Time to face myself and guide myself and be a lot more gentle. And to Zion. Okay, baby mama's doing a video, okay? Yeah, thank you. I love you. But yeah, so it's time to face ourselves and basically address those thought patterns and replace them. So when I say address, for example, you may notice with that spotlight that your old thought pattern would say, oh, I'm not good enough to do XYZ. I'm not good enough to do this thing that you're trying to do. And before, the spotlight, before the self-awareness, you used to just believe that that was it. You just used to take on the fear, take on the thought, you know? And then when you start to get a bit of self-awareness, you start to realize these things. You're actually able to point at it and say, it is something. It exists. It's a thought pattern. Now having this spotlight awareness around it and being in a space where I've stepped on the timeline and I'm kind of separated myself a bit. I've brought space between myself and my old patterns. Now with the spotlight on it, I'm able to see the pattern come up and not recognize it because I've already stepped into the new timeline. I've seen the pattern come up and realized that this is no longer me. And then what I mean with facing the pattern is, let's use that example, about, I'm not good enough to do this thing. I say that is not true. You go to the pattern, you say, this is a lie, that is not true. And then by facing it, I mean, you say, I understand why you would think that way or feel that way, but this is a new timeline. I understand that you are scared, but this is a new timeline. And then you replace it with something new. So instead of saying, that you are not good enough to do this thing, you know damn well you are good enough to do this thing and that you hold a lot of value. So it's basically like we're separating ourselves from the old version of ourselves. The old version of ourselves is kind of like on its deathbed. I can't even say that it's dying anymore. It's already on its deathbed. And we are just giving it grace and wishing it well. If you can think about that, it's your old self, and it can get rough some days, guys. It can get really rough some days, and I completely understand. But I've said in a previous video about making sure that we're giving ourselves grace. Walk with grace through this time. Make sure that with the spotlight awareness and understanding the separation, don't go back into the habit of fighting yourself, because you're going to delay stepping the second foot into the new timeline in order to leave the last one. You're going to delay that step if you start fighting yourself. If you approach it with grace and say, I understand where this is coming from. This is coming from fear. I understand that the unknown is fearful, but flip that around by saying, I understand that you are scared. I understand that this thought pattern is from a place of, being scared, being fearful of the unknown, but it's so much more for you stepping through the unknown. We have been through the unknown before. That is now the known to us, that we are trying to step into a new unknown. So yeah, it was about that. But with this separation, it's kind of like it's wiping the slate clean. We get to decide how we show up from now on. And we've always been able to decide, but you are now in control because of the amount of awareness and because of the decision, the conscious decision. Having awareness around that decision to allow your old self to shed away, to guide your old self through the shed away. It's deep work, and that puts you in control of how you decide to show up on this new timeline. And I understand that, for a lot of us, just following our intuition and also being empaths and being healers along the way, I understand that our lives and our purpose and our reason for existence always kind of revolved around others, always revolved around doing for others, always revolved around, the team, keeping the whole ship afloat for everybody. But this new chapter, which can feel uncomfortable, but in the best way, because it's going to be growth that happens I'm getting words in my head, but I don't know the words. But it's basically, it's going to be growth that happens through good things. Good things are going to happen, and they're going to feel uncomfortable because you are now on the receiving end, and your life is now about you. It's about you, and it's about you showing up authentically. It's about you spending your time to actively pursue any and everything that makes life worth living for you. It's about you really digging deep to find out who you are, how you want to show up, and the things that are actually going to make your life worth living. It's about finding out how you want your life to look and how you're going to show up in order for your life to look that way. You get me? And these are things that me, myself, have never really thought about, because I've always thought about the whole boat. I've always thought about making sure that nobody else sings. And now that I'm in a space where I'm reclaiming my power back and I'm taking my life into my own hands, it's uncomfortable as fuck, yeah. But yes, I do feel powerful. So it does make myself really hesitant. It makes me really hesitant about where I'm going to now choose to put all of that power, all of that energy now. But for one thing is for certain, is that I'm going to be moving through my life using that energy to be as authentic as possible. And with all the things that I already know about my own self, I'm just going to keep building on that and keep expressing that as much as possible. And this is my advice to you, is if you feel like a chicken with his head cut off, if you feel like someone who feels a bit blind with how to move right now because you don't really know who you are, one thing is, of course, don't ever feel alone. And I am right there with you. But the second thing is to keep going with your gut and keep using your power to be as open and as bold and as strongly you as possible. Sorry, bear with me. I'm hearing things. Hold on. Yeah, the goal is freedom. The goal here is freedom. We're freeing ourselves, and that also includes us freeing our old selves, allowing them to rest and die. So with that said, and my son wanting my attention, I'm going to leave that here, guys. I really hope that this helps you to not feel so alone, and I hope that it puts into perspective where you're at. And just know that I understand that there are harder days than others, but just know that all of this is happening for your highest good, and to keep doing what you're doing. Keep facing yourself, keep facing those thoughts, those old patterns, and treat yourself with grace. I love you. I feel you. I see you. I am you. And I'll see you in the next one. Keep being authentic.